influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciate him. He had a little bit run.
Nas. But remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Yes.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you gotta realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different.
Jim Jones just lit a fire, and it's spreading fast. On Shannon Sharpe's podcast, he didn't hold back. With a straight face, he claimed he's not just relevant, he's more influential than Nas. Jaw-dropping, unbelievable, explosive, and the internet? It erupted. Then out of nowhere, 50 Cent enters the chat. No names, no words. Just one old federal transcript posted on Instagram, and boom, the message was loud and clear. Now, the streets of the internet are on fire. Wiretaps resurfacing. Old videos going viral. People are connecting dots, digging up dirt. And Jim, he's in the gym, shouting disses like he's prepping for a title fight. But here's the truth. This ain't just about Nas. This is bigger than rap beef. This is 50's silent war cry. A cold reminder to the entire industry. He's still untouchable. And just maybe a hint at something darker. How certain names keep dodging indictments. Like they're bulletproof. So ask yourself, is this just another ego clash? Or is the curtain finally being pulled back on something the world was never meant to see?
40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
I got Hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on.
That shirt too
Jimmy.
tight. You want to go back to I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even say it.
Jim Jones might have just done more than stir the pot. He might have cracked open a vault. That was better left sealed. Yeah, he wanted to prove he still holds weight in the game. That his name matters, but what he ignited goes way beyond music. Because every time Jim mentions Nas, you can feel it. That sting, that history, that wound that never really healed. This isn't some new school tension, this beef. It's deep-rooted, ancient, personal. Flashback to 2002. Nas storms Hot 97, and out of nowhere, he trashes Cameron, calls his album whack. No context. No warning, just a brutal takedown. On live radio. And that was it. That's all Dipset needed. From that moment, they declared war. And Jim, he didn't hesitate. He dove in headfirst from the booth to the block. Things got ugly. Fast. Mixtapes were loaded with insults. Lines got blurred, and Jim, he wasn't just dropping bars, he was spitting venom. He made it personal, real personal. He even threatened to smack the Kufi off his head, and he meant it. This wasn't just rap. It was raw, disrespectful. Street-level war. And tracks like We Fly High. They weren't just bangers, they were battle cries. But here's where it gets twisted, really twisted. You think this is just about old beef. Think again. Something darker is lurking beneath it all, and Jim might have just brought it back to life.
Start buying baggy your clothes, big fella. You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we can do
Since
that.
you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out.
Come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out or strength? What we talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
since you got money.
And we talking about
put your money where your mouth is.
So you talking about working out?
Run them stacks.
You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me.
Whatever.
But if you talk about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You are doing good when you talk about Nas and Jada. You don't want to see this.
Just a year ago, Jim Jones was singing Nas's praises, showing love, showing respect. But now, that respect has flipped into something else entirely, a storm of shade, pride, and pure fire. It all went left fast. It started when Jim showed up on Fat Joe and Jadakiss' podcast, and Fat Joe, he stirred the pot without warning, threw in a question like a grenade, and Jim, he pulled the pin. Out of nowhere, he dropped one of the wildest, most shocking takes in recent hip-hop memory. He didn't just say he was relevant. He said he was more influential than Nas, the Queensbridge legend, the lyrical architect behind Illmatic, God's Son, King's Disease. A man in his 50s still selling out Madison Square Garden, but Jim, he didn't blink. He didn't stutter. He didn't backtrack. He doubled down with chest out and confidence blazing. That interview didn't just stir the pot, it tipped it over, smashed it on the floor, and set the whole kitchen on fire. The internet could barely keep up, and just when people thought it might cool off, Jim hit another platform, this time Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap, sitting alongside Shannon and Chad Ochocinco Johnson. He claimed he was just there to clear the air, but instead, he poured gasoline on the flames Shannon wasn't having it. He came with tough, no-nonsense questions, and Jim, he started to sweat. But then came the moment that made viewers pause, rewind, and play it again. Just when it seemed like he might finally dial it back, Jim went even harder. He dug up that old, bitter Dipset versus Nas beef from the early 2000s. And suddenly, Jim wasn't just a critic, he painted himself as Nas's biggest fan turned rival. Trying to play it slick, he complimented Nas on his style, called him one of the flyest ever. But every road led back to the same bold, relentless claim Nas doesn't influence the streets like Jim does, and Jim wouldn't stop there. He even accused Shannon of bringing him on just for views. The energy shifted, tension skyrocketed, and Shannon, he snapped back hard. This is the biggest podcast you've ever been on. And just like that, the whole thing erupted into a shouting match. Raw, unfiltered, viral. It wasn't just an interview. It was a collision of egos, a front row. See to the unraveling of something way bigger than hip-hop.
Never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
We know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
1 second, it was all laughs. The next, it felt like a street brawl in slow motion. Shannon Sharpe, calm, cool, collected, suddenly turned from friendly host to sparring partner. When Jim said he was better than Nas, Shannon didn't just raise an eyebrow. He raised the stakes. He didn't clap back with bars. He went straight to the weight room, told Jim if he wanted to throw jabs, they could settle it in the gym. It got real fast. What started as rap talk spiraled into a full-blown workout war. Jim started flexing, literally trying to prove he still got it, still deserves respect, still belongs in the ring or the booth. But while Jim was busy pumping ego and posing for the cameras, 50 Cent was playing a different game, quiet, cold, calculated. Behind the scenes, he was dropping receipts like breadcrumbs and keeping that federal label hovering over everything, a dark, heavy cloud that wouldn't go away. Meanwhile, the audience exploding. The comments were chaos. People couldn't get enough of it. A retired NFL Hall of Famer stepping up to defend Nas iconic. One fan dropped the mic in the comments. Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done, Jones. You're delusional. Shannon, thank you for speaking up. And the internet, it upped because deep down, people had questions. Why was everyone so quiet when Jim first said it? Why did nobody check him? But 50. He said nothing. He just watched, like a chess master, calculating his next move, not laughing, just waiting. And when people thought the drama had peaked, it got pettier and uglier, fast. Fans unearthed an old clip, one that reeked of pure disrespect. Jim wasn't just ignored by Nas back in the day. He was laughed off stage, publicly, brutally, and now, in 2025, that old humiliation is back, and it's spreading like wildfire. But the story doesn't end there. While Nas kept his silence and Shannon turned up the heat, another player was watching, lurking. 50 Cent, always watching, always ready. The moment he heard Jim say he was better than Nas, he didn't post a diss track. He didn't drop a name. He just hit Instagram with one slick, chilling caption, individual one, no name, no face. But everyone knew exactly who he meant. And with that one post, 50 didn't just throw shade. He dropped the temperature in the room to 0.
I never got to, did I ever got to see Nas? I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler.
And then, boom. The internet lost its mind because anyone who knows the streets, knows the story, knows exactly what that name means. Individual One isn't some nickname. It's not a punchline. It's a federal label, straight out, of the explosive Tekashi 6 IX9 case back in 2018. The courtroom was packed, the tension unbearable, and during the 9 Trey Bloods trial, prosecutors played a wiretap phone call. A voice giving orders, cold, calculated, allegedly telling someone to violate Tekashi for snitching. They didn't drop Jim's name. They didn't have to. Instead, they called him Individual One. No confirmation, no charges, no courtroom ID, but that voice, people swore they recognized it, and that label, it stuck like blood on pavement. Now, here we are in 2025, and 50 Cent, he knew exactly what he was doing, dragging that label back into the spotlight at the perfect moment, because while Jim's out here, hopping podcast, acting tough, trying to bait us into a lyrical war, 50, he's playing a deeper game, a darker game he never forgot, and neither did the blogs, the fans, the streets. They remember everything. So 50 went digging deep into his Instagram vault. And what did he bring back? A meme, one he once deleted fast, but now he brought it back louder than ever, and the caption, chilling. So that's why they ain't pull him in just 10 words, but they hit like a bullet to the chest. The internet exploded, comments pouring in, tweets flying, people screaming, say it ain't so. Jimmy say it ain't so.
Yo, honestly, I can't, like, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss right now. I'm like, yo, the used to have so nervous was like B.I.G., Pop, right? Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But Jim Jones, like, I mean, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly.
Let's rewind the tape to 2019. The Shade Room had just dropped breaking court updates from Tekashi 6ix9ine's explosive trial. The headlines, unbelievable. A verified courtroom reporter claimed Tekashi named Jim Jones as a 9 Trey Bloods. Remember Dot, and when that hit the timeline, 50 Cent couldn't resist. He dove into the comments, clowning, mocking, stirring the pot like only 50 can. And then came that infamous video, 50 looking all dramatic, playing it up for the camera. I'm afraid for my life. I mean, Jimmy is gang gang. The internet lost it. Memes, jokes, reactions everywhere. But while everyone was laughing, Jim, he wasn't amused, not even a little. And here's where it all takes a dark turn, because this wasn't new beef. 50 wasn't clashing with Nez. He's been targeting Jim for years. This whole Nez debate, just a convenient excuse, a perfect setup for 50 to drag Jim through the mud all over again. Let's take it even further back. 2007 G-Unit concert. 50 brings Jim Jones and Jules Santana on stage, right when Dipset was falling apart behind. The scenes and Cameron, he took that move as pure disrespect, a shot across the bow. Because Dipset wasn't just crumbling privately, now, it was playing out publicly. Fast forward back to 2019. The Tekashi trial, the courtroom echoes with a wiretap phone call. A voice allegedly giving the green light to violate TKSHI. No name dropped. But prosecutors called him individual 1. No charges, no confirmation, but that name, it stuck. Like glue, and the internet ran with it. Whispers turned into rumors, rumors turned into headlines. And 50, he was documenting it all, keeping receipts like trophies. So, when Jim saw 50's latest round of posts, he tried to play it cool. Real cool. He posted an old school Bird Gang photo, dipped in Dipset nostalgia, classic Jim. Dripping in Harlem pride. And the caption? Why? You keep lying, lol. I'm going back to sleep. Free male matrix till it's reversed. But behind the jokes, behind the lol, you could feel it. The pressure, the past, the weight of the rumors that never died. And now, they're not just back. They're louder than ever.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening.
That free male matrix line, it wasn't just a shout out, it was a loaded message. A public salute to his longtime friend, still serving over 11 years on racketeering charges. And more than that, it was a clear jab at 50 Cent, calling out the narrative, dismissing it as twisted, fake, and full of holes. But Jim didn't stop there. He went back to the gym, back to the flexing, dropping another post, shirt off, muscles out, trying to show the world he's solid, unbothered, untouched, like 50's trolling wasn't phasing him, like none of it mattered. But the truth, everyone saw through it. Because no matter how many curls he posted, the shots were landing hard. While Jim kept flexing for the gram, the drama outside kept boiling, unstoppable, viral, relentless. Fans turned into detectives, dissecting every post, every caption, every interview, digging up old clips like they were rare artifacts, treasure hunting for receipts and the blogs. Feasting, dropping headline after headline like bombs. Is Jim Jones really more influential than this? Did Jim just diss a legend? What is he really trying to say? Meanwhile, the comment sections turned into full-blown war zones. Fans divided. Defenders versus doubters, every line sparking rage, loyalty, and disbelief. And Jim, instead of laying low, he kept talking, interview after interview, trying to explain what he meant, but somehow, only making it worse. He said things like, I'm the voice of the streets, I'm out here with the people, daily, but the message came off cold. Disrespectful, as if Niz was just some retired legend, disconnected, distant, a relic from another era, and every time Jim said it, the reactions exploded. More outrage, more division, more chaos. Because it wasn't just a battle of bars anymore, it was a battle over legacy. And Jim, he didn't just poke the bear, he lit a match in a room full of gasoline. Meanwhile, 50 Cent was still in the cut, still watching, still clowning. But now, he wasn't just reposting memes, he was going for the jugular. He started dropping old video clips. Clips of Jim sounding too friendly with some very shady characters, and the message crystal clear. This wasn't just about trolling. It was about reminding the world that individual one wasn't some forgotten rumor. It was a label with weight, and history. His captions lethal. Stuff like, history lesson time. Pay attention. Fans went crazy. The internet lit up. But here's the real twistness. He stayed silent, dead silent, not a word, not a tweet, not a bar. And that silence, it spoke volumes. Some fans praised him, said he was rising above the mess, the king not stooping to the dirt. Others? They swore he was watching it all unfold behind the scenes, calm, calculated, waiting. Word was, his team didn't want him involved at all. They believed Jim was chasing clout, that he didn't even deserve a single lyric in return. And then, the culture split. Rappers started picking sides. Some were with Jim, said he was outside, still connected to the streets, certified, active, respected. Others laughed it off, said Nas was too legendary to entertain the noise. Why respond to someone swinging at the sky? The divide made everything messier, more emotional, more viral. But Jim, he wasn't finished. He tried one last move to flip the script, posted up in the studio. Caption, say less. The internet erupted. Fans started speculating. Is he about to drop a diss? Is he coming for 50? Is he about to take a real shot at Nas? But not everyone was impressed. Plenty rolled their eyes, said Jim was just thirsty for attention, desperate to stay relevant, trending for the wrong reasons. And one thing was clear, this wasn't just music anymore. This was a public chess match. Receipts, accusations, old skeletons dragged from dusty closets and thrown into the spotlight. And while Jim kept barking online, and 50 kept pressing the petty button like it was a game controller, everyone else, they were just watching, waiting for the next twist. Then came the challenge, Jim versus Shannon Sharpe. It started with jokes, but Jim turned it dead serious. He called Shannon out, publicly, loudly, aggressively. You already challenged me, champ. Might as well finish the job. He even dragged Oko into it. He don't want to do it in public. Fine, let's do it in private. Just make sure you're the witness. Jim didn't flinch, didn't backpedal, didn't blink. He doubled down, said it didn't matter who or where. We don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from. Run it. While 50 Cent kept trolling from the sidelines, armed with a signature brand of petty finesse, Jim Jones was moving like he was prepping for a heavyweight title fight. No more sneak disses. No more subliminals. He was calling people out, directly, ruthlessly. And not just Shannon Sharpe. Jim fired shots at anyone over 40 who dared defend Nas. He posted, if you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost. Y'all fell for the bait. My streams go up every time Mel goes viral. I'm teaching you older artists a lesson in marketing. The message, loud and clear. Jim wasn't backing down. He was doubling down. He kept pushing. Harder, louder, more aggressive. Y'all stuck in yesterday, mad at the way things run today. Tighten up. Then came the knockout caption, a message that lit up the internet. I said what I said. P.S. I will wrap circles around any artist from my era who dares to step into the booth. Bring some money too. Because this game ain't free. We're outside, in the field. Take that how you want. But we're working every single day. And through all of this, Nas stayed silent, stone cold, unshaken, unmoved. He didn't blink, didn't post, didn't bite the bait. Jim kept poking, kept calling him out, claiming he was the more influential. And fans, they were torn. Some were eating it up, addicted to the chaos. But plenty were calling Jim desperate, saying he was begging for attention, chasing clout, trying to drag Nas into a war that Nas wasn't even thinking about. But here's the thing. Everybody knows if Nas ever did respond, it wouldn't be some casual diss. It would be a full-blown lyrical execution because Nas doesn't throw jabs. He writes obituaries. His pen is legendary. And Jim, he'd be risking his whole legacy in just one verse. But while Jim ranted and flexed online 50 Cent, he went quiet to quiet. And that's when people get nervous, because when 50 goes silent, it usually means one thing. He's loading the clip. Rumors started flying, whispers, leaks. Alleged unreleased wiretap audio is still out there, floating in the shadows, and if it's real, Jim might have just talked himself into a storm way bigger than rap. Now, the whole industry is watching. Fans are refreshing timelines, waiting. Will Nas respond with bars? Or will 50 let the streets finish it with the truth? Dropped late to run. Thanks for watching. If you were glued to this breakdown, hit that like, smash subscribe, and don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a single twist. Drop a comment below. Whose side are you on? Team Legacy or Team Loud? And who do you think takes this chess match? Until next time, stay watching, stay woke, and stay ready, because in hip-hop, everything can change in a single post.